There we go. All right. So, welcome. This is our next 2-hour WoW session, all about highlights and tips about instructional technology to enhance student engagement. So, welcome and thank you for being here. We'll start with some introductions. So, it is Aisha and myself. I'll let Aisha go first.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aisha Gaines. I am instructional designer here in the distance learning department. I've been at Sierra for about a year now, so still fairly new and still learning. But happy to be here and happy that you guys are here as well.
All right, and welcome. So I am Tara. I am also an instructional designer here. I've been with distance learning for almost a year and a half. I came in September, so maybe not quite a year and a half. But I originally was hired here at Sierra in 2017 as adjunct faculty. So I taught French part-time for quite a while before coming into distance learning. So I am really happy to be here and to support you all and share some fun things in today's session. Before we talk about the outline, so this is a 2-hour session and we have a lot to cover. If you have questions, please do add them in the chat if you'd like. You could also raise your hand and we can call on you to speak. We are recording the session, so if you prefer to put things in the chat instead, you can do so as well. All right, I'll pass it over to Aisha.
Alrighty. So as far as the outline, we do have quite a few tools, and there have been quite a few changes over the past semester or so. So we'll get an overview of all those LTIs, or what I like to call integrated tools, because LTI is learning tools interoperability. A really hard thing to say. So we usually just say LTIs or integrated tools. We're usually referring to probably anything mentioned in this training today. So we will go over City Labs, Design Plus, and the multi-tool in particular. We'll go over embedding videos because there's been some changes with that as well. We will have a moment for a group share, sort of like some reflection questions. So you'll go into breakout rooms, and after that, you will share. So just be prepared for that. There will be a little bit of interactivity today. And then after that, we'll go back into the LTIs. We'll look at We Video, which was formerly known as PlayPosit. We'll look at Harmonize, Lucid, and then we'll have another discussion. And then after we come back, we will go over some of the upcoming trainings that we are hosting here at Distance Learning, and then also some resources that are hopefully helpful to you as you maybe experiment with some of these different LTIs.
All
Um, yeah, go ahead.
And I'll switch the slide in just a moment, but as I'm kind of seeing folks that are joining, please make sure that your name is something that we could recognize you to get credit for being here in ProDev. So if it's only like your like username for Sierra College, but it doesn't actually include your first or last name, please make sure that we can recognize you so you can get credit for being here today. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks. So as far as the basics, so I kind of already described what is an LTI, but it's essentially an integrated tool. So if we look at something like Design Plus, it does a lot of things, but mainly you can use it to, make your course look pretty, aesthetic, add different colors, different interactivity, having accordions, call out boxes, and that sort of thing. So that's one example of an integrated tool. Another really popular one is, like Harmonize, where you have different types of discussions. Students can annotate PDFs and that sort of thing. So that's an example of an LTI. It's essentially a third-party tool that is integrated into Canvas. Um, and how to access the tools. So most of these tools you are able to access when you are creating a Canvas assignment. Um, and so, correct me if I'm wrong, Tara, it is the drop down when you are choosing the submission type. Usually you would choose the external tool, and from there you can choose whichever LTI that you are looking for. So whether that is Harmonize, you can do Canvas Studio quizzes, I believe, for example. But usually you can find the LTIs within that assignment drop down. And then there are also some tools here, which we'll go into more detail, of course, but where you can access them on a Canvas page, for example. So um, embedding videos, like Canvas Studio videos, videos through the library with like films on demand. Those are other ways to access the LTI. And some LTIs are within either one of those, and you kind of you may need to use like a keyboard command, for example, to open it within your Canvas page. But it really all just depends on um, what LTI that we are using. And next slide, please. All right, so the first LTI that we'll focus on today is the Design Plus sidebar, which is created by the third party City Labs. And so before the Design Plus sidebar, there was the Design Tools sidebar, or the Legacy Design sidebar. So this legacy tool sunsetted on the 31st of December of last year. And while those elements will still work, they won't receive any of those updates or bug fixes. So, of course, as Canvas adds on new features, as they update their code, some of those legacy elements may break. But at the present moment, it should be fine. But we do recommend updating those legacy elements just to ensure that, at least for the time being, none of those elements will break. So next slide, please. Hmm. Sorry about that. So for finding the Design Plus sidebar, um, you will find this usually when you are editing your Canvas page. So if you go to a Canvas page and you click that edit button and you're within the Canvas RCE, this is where you will open up the Design Plus sidebar. And if you can see here, there is the white rocket ship. You will usually see that in the right-hand side while you're in the edit mode of a page. So if it's not there, you will have to force launch it using a keyboard command. And for Windows, that is Alt Shift D, or if you have a Mac, that will be Option Shift D, and that will open up the rocket ship and open up the sidebar on your Canvas page. I do want to note, if you are having trouble pulling up the Design Plus sidebar, it may be your browser settings. So I've noticed that some faculty have issues when maybe they have ad blockers or pop-up blockers. Then their browser will not allow them to actually open up this Design Plus sidebar. So you may have to go into your browser settings just to ensure that those are not blocking your ability to open this design tools. And once you have it open, you may notice that you still have the legacy version, which looks like the the little design tools that's below the open design tools. That is the legacy version. Thank you, Tara. And so you can click switch to new version to try this new Design Plus sidebar. Once you click that button, the page will refresh. All right, thank you. And as far as updating your legacy elements, say that you try the new version and you're just like, I don't really want to do this. I want to keep what I had that I created with the legacy design elements. We recommend updating those elements, and you can do that individually, or you can also do that for the entire course. So if you would like to do that individually, you will navigate to that page where you have the legacy design elements. You will click edit, and then you will launch the sidebar. So you either click that rocket ship or use one of the keyboard commands. Um, and so once you're there, you will want to go to the accessibility tab, and it looks like a little guy in a circle. Um, and from there, under usability, you will choose upgrade, and that will upgrade that page individually. But if you have a lot of legacy design elements on in your course and you don't want to go through each page individually, you can do this on a course level. So within Canvas, you will go to your course settings page. And this is the only page in Canvas where you will not have to click edit to access the design plus sidebar. So once you're in settings, you should see the rocket ship there on the right hand side. And you'll click in there. And once you're there, you will see what kind of looks like a little a book tab. And under course tools, you will choose um, course upgrade. And then you will be able to upgrade the legacy elements across your entire course. All right. And next slide, please. So as far as the navigation and help guides, you probably noticed in the previous slides, if we could go back one, um, the next one, yes. Okay, so you see what looks like a little target button. That is kind of targeting the current element that you are editing on the page. So it will make elements to, or make changes to whatever element that you have selected at the time. So that is what that target section is for, to edit the current element. And to the right of that, you have the plus sign. And this is how you can add different elements. You can add, different types of headings, accordions, call out boxes. Um, Design Plus has really a lot of different elements. And so we won't go into all of them today, but we do have trainings on those, which we'll probably mention later. But that plus sign is where you will add in all of that information. And to the right of that, you have the accessibility and usability section. And so this is where you can kind of check for the accessibility of your different elements, whether that's the contrast, making sure that your headings are properly tagged and nested, making sure that you don't have any broken links, making sure that your images have alt text, and a lot of other features that are within that accessibility and usability section. Something that I really like for the usability section is that you can preview your page before you actually go and submit or save that page. You're not sure if you really like that design, you can actually preview your content, which is really nice before you kind of commit to that. And I see you came off mute, Tara. Do you have something to add?
Yes, but I'll wait till you're done with the preview content.
Okay. Yes. So that preview content button, it will sort of do like a left-hand side pop out, and you'll be able to see what that page will look like for your students and whether or not you want to commit to that before actually saving. All
All
right.
right.
Go ahead.
Wonderful. Yes. So that is such a useful tool. Probably my favorite part of the accessibility usability tab is the external assets tool, which I have found is really helpful. If you go to your course and you are checking, you're doing the link validator, and you find that you have images that your students can't view because you put in those images in a different course, and now you've copied your course or imported your course to a new shell, and the image file did not come with it. But with this external assets tool, you can click on that and it will essentially bring that image from where it used to belong or where it lives into the course you're currently in, replaces that image within your page, and with all just one click of a button. And so that was my biggest problem when I was teaching online is, you copy your course, you roll over your course, and things go missing, like images, and they don't come over with all your other content. And so that's a really easy way to replace that content without doing 10 different steps.
Thank you for adding that. All right. And so I believe I went over the accessibility for the most part. And so after the accessibility tab, you'll see a question mark, which is the kind of helps and videos and walkthroughs. If you're kind of struggling while you're in Design Plus, they do have kind of embedded content where you can watch different walkthroughs, which I find to be really helpful. And also there's usually like if you're on a specific tab, there's usually like an info button, like a small eye, and I believe it's the left of that, there is usually like a video button if there's a video associated with that feature, which is really nice in case you're, wondering what something does. You can click on that video and they will give you a video walkthrough through that feature. And I think I already mentioned the accessibility.
Can you say one
And
more time? I was taking notes and got
yes.
a little behind about how do you get to the videos to show you how to do things again?
And you know what? I will bring that up on my page and kind of show how to get to the sidebar as well.
Perfect.
Can you all see that I'm going into my Canvas sandbox?
Yes.
Okay, just always good to double check. Okay, so here I am on a page. I clicked edit. I have my little rocket ship guy over here. When I click on that, it will bring me, I have the Design Plus sidebar already. And within so this is the accessibility usability tab. This is your wonderful preview content button that once I click again, it'll bring it up in a pop-up window so you can see what it would look like if it were published for your students. So it's kind of like saving and going into student view without having to do all of those steps. And when you're done, you can just click the X to return to your regular page. And then the question mark tab gives you all sorts of tutorials. So City Labs has been really great in creating user guides, tutorials, videos, walkthroughs. So for example, if I wanted to do a walkthrough of how to do an accordion, I can click the launch button and it will tell me exactly how to do that. So it'll highlight the button to click on, click next, tell it kind of explains what each of these parts are for and gives me some information on how to edit that for what I want. Um, we can use the style to change what I want those accordions or tabs to look like. And then there is an advanced tab, which most of you probably will never use. And then there's also this small preview area down here that shows you what those panels would look like. So if they had content, we could expand them and you can get a mini preview of just that item.
Has this always been available on City Labs, these walkthroughs and videos?
Um, they've been around at least since summer. They may not have been as robust as they are now, but I know over summer they were there. All right. Were there other things you wanted to add, Aisha?
No, I think that was great.
Okay. Right. All right. I don't think we had a slide for this, but I do just kind of want to show in the new Design Plus sidebar, there are these three dots here, sometimes called the kebab menu. Developers like food, I'm not sure. Kebab menu here. Where you can preview content using this part as well. You can add, if we have any language instructors in here, we have language accents, which will give essentially a pop out, kind of like the rocket ship, but a pop out for your students to also use if they're typing into the text box and you want to give them easy access to their accent marks. You could do that as well. And then under user settings, this is where you can click the button to show launch button, which will make sure that your rocket ship is that little icon is showing when you go to edit a page. Or if you want the whole sidebar to pop out every time you edit, you can click this top button as well. And so these are some good shortcuts to make it so you don't have to put in that, Alt Shift D each time you're trying to find the rocket ship. All right.
Right. I believe this one is you, Tara.
Okay. So the multi-tool is another kind of add-on from City Labs. City Labs brings us the Design Plus sidebar. It also gives us the multi-tool, which is very helpful as you're getting ready for the next semester, or creating a brand new course or redesigning a course. So once you click on the multi-tool from the course navigation sidebar, that white strip all the way to the left, it will bring you to the kind of like homepage of the multi-tool where you can see the template builder, the module builder, due date modifier, and delayed announcement modifier. So for those of you that are starting a brand new course or maybe redesigning a course, the template builder and the module builder can be incredibly helpful for creating a template page, maybe as your module overview. So the beginning of each week or each module, create a template, and then you can just pop it into your module builder in the next step. The same for creating pages, assignments, discussions, etc. So it's a great way to kind of start creating a course or doing a full redesign. However, I think most people here are probably going to be using the due date modifier or the delayed announcement modifier the most. And these are for bulk updating dates in your new course. So if you copied your course over and it still has the dates from the previous semester, then your due date modifier can help you bulk update all of your dates. So you can Google how many days from August 25th, 2025 to January, I don't know, 25th, 2026. It will give you that exact number. Hooray. Thank you, Google. And you can just pop that into the box and click a couple buttons, and all of your dates will be pushed over however many days, whether that's like 142, 147, around there. So that can help just kind of push everything forward. This does your assignment due dates, unlock dates, lock dates, page due dates, if you've added a page to a student's to-do list, and also for publishing quizzes and due dates and such. Due date modifier is incredibly helpful. For the delayed announcement modifier, it works a little bit differently. However, it does give you a chance to quickly just adjust dates. It'll give you your whole list of announcements. You can adjust the dates kind of quickly all on one page without having to go inside each announcement and changing your dates. So if you're using those same announcements for, add drop deadline is coming up, withdrawal with the W is coming up, and those kind of reminder announcements, those are really easy to update those dates for you for your new semester. So you could also bulk delete announcements. So if you're like, starting from scratch, everything's brand new for this semester, you can click just a couple of buttons and just delete all of your announcements in one go, which also saves you a lot of clicks and quite a bit of time as well. All right. Any questions on the Design Plus sidebar or the multi-tool before we move on to talking about videos?
I'm sorry, I missed. Where did you find the multi-tool?
Sure. So the multi-tool should be in your course navigation. So here I am within my sandbox, and my course navigation is this white strip where you find home and announcements. And then it's somewhere in here. It'll be in a different place, probably in every course, but the multi-tool is right here for me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ariana?
Do we have to enable the multi-tool in every course that we utilize or give it like access or permission? Or once we do it in one course, it will translate to all of the other courses?
I believe if you do it in one course, it will follow through for your other courses.
Thank you.
Yes. And if you've never used the multi-tool before, yes. So when you first click on the multi-tool, it brings you to here. If you already have, you'll see this blue box down here saying that you've already given authorization, which I have. If you have never used this before, you'll need to go to the module builder first. You'll see a pop-up asking to authorize City Labs permission to your Canvas courses. Because it is a third-party tool, it does need your permission to access your content. And then it'll take a minute or so to load. Thank you for asking, Ariana. Almost forgot that part. Report bugs with the tool. There may be an option within your settings, or you could email support at City Labs. And yes, Kate.
Thank you. Um, so I went into my course and I had the legacy design tool and I clicked on a button to like convert it, I guess. And now when I go into a module, into a page and click edit, I don't even see the rocket ship anymore.
Okay. So what you'll need to do, are you on a Windows or a Mac?
Windows.
So hold down Alt, Shift, and the letter D for design, and that should force launch the tool.
So Alt, Shift, and D.
Yes.
It's not doing anything.
Can you click somewhere in a white space that's not within the text? So somewhere that you can't type in and then try it.
Okay. So Alt Shift D. There it goes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
You're the
You're so
best.
welcome. Yeah. Sometimes when you're clicked within the box where you can type and you click the code, it thinks you're trying to do something else. Yes. Thank you, Aisha, for popping that in again. Okay. All right. Wonderful. So I'll pass it back over to Aisha to talk about YouTube videos.
All right, so I don't know if any of you have noticed, but when you are adding a video in Canvas Studio, you can now add YouTube videos directly to Studio. So to do so, you would go into Canvas and then the global navigation, which is on the very left-hand side. It's like the red stripe. There will be a Studio button there, and you will click in there. Once you are in Studio, in the far right-hand side, there is like a blue button, and it says plus create, and you will click there and choose add media, and from there you can upload videos from your device, or you can also
Sorry,
add in links.
could you go a little slower? I'm sorry.
Uh-huh, no problem. So I'll start that over. So in Canvas, in the left-hand side, there is the global navigation, and that is the very left-hand side with the red strip. And there is an option for Studio, and that's the Canvas Studio. So if you click there, um, the new page will open up, and on the very right-hand side of that page, there is a blue button that says Create. And from there, you choose Add Media, and it will be a pop-up, and then you'll have the option to either upload a video from your device that you are on, or you can also add a YouTube link that will add that video to your Canvas Studio. Now, with adding YouTube videos, if the YouTube video has auto-generated captions, um, those are still considered inaccessible. So it may be that you have to either manually create those captions, which is not fun, right? Or you could send a captioning request to captioning@sierracollege.edu for any YouTube videos where there are still inaccurate captions. Because once you upload that into Studio, you won't be able to edit those captions. And so you'll need to either again manually create those, which is possible in Studio. It can be a bit tedious though, or you can send a captioning request. And I see Tara has put that information into the chat. So yes, you have the ability now. Now with that, if you have been embedding any YouTube videos on your actual Canvas pages, but you want to convert those to studio videos because now if you're embedding videos, the students are getting ads and kind of like personalized I guess like targeted ads and marketing which can really kind of disrupt the learning process. And so now we have the YouTube migration tool which will migrate any of those embedded YouTube videos in your course into a Canvas studio. And to do so, you will see the YouTube migration link in your Canvas course. And there's kind of a photo here on this slide, and it's YouTube migration. So if you click there, this will open up the YouTube migration tool. And there will be a scan course button on this page. And once you click scan course, it will scan your entire course to see, what pages, assignments, and discussions where there are embedded YouTube videos. Um, and if I'm not mistaken, there is a button, a review button. Can you can you give me more information on this, Tara? Like I've done it a few times, but I'm blanking out here.
Yes, absolutely. So once you scan your course, and Dawn, I see your hand. I'll call you in just a second. So scan course, it'll give you all your results, and then you'll click on this little review button down here. You'll get a pop-up window that will show the video and a quick little convert button. It may take a minute for it to load, but you just click convert and it will take care of it all for you. And then you can return to your list and work your way through the list. So this is really great that it will convert and replace that video within the page that it is in, which is awesome because you don't have to go back in and then replace it with a new migrated video. It's all done with a couple clicks of a button. And then you can kind of go through page by page. This is also really helpful if there are any videos that you've been using that maybe are no longer available. So if it's a YouTube video that the creator has taken off their page or deleted, it will also show you that it is no longer available. It's a good way to kind of catch those older videos. And that way you know you need to find a new video for that page. And Donna, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I've seen that YouTube migration tool, but again, I wasn't quite following when you would use it as opposed to just pasting the link in Canvas when you're, I mean, not Canvas, but Canvas Studio. So remind me again what the migration tool is. That if you already have a YouTube video? I don't understand what the migration part means.
Yes. So it's if you already have YouTube videos that are embedded on your pages. And so with those videos that are embedded on the page that are YouTube, they are not a part of Canvas Studio. And now Canvas or YouTube is showing ads on those videos. So to mitigate that, we have the migration tool. So if you have any embedded videos there, you use this tool. Now the students won't get those ads that may disrupt their experience.
Okay, I remember you saying that disrupt their experience, but I missed the first part. All right, thanks.
Mhm.
All right. And if you are not seeing the YouTube migration option within your course navigation, you may need to go to your course settings down here at the very bottom and go to the feature options tab here, and then enable the YouTube migration. So it is YouTube to studio content migration is what it's called in here. And if you just click here and then you'll select enable. So if you're not seeing it yet, you may need to enable it within your feature options tab here within your course settings. All right.
All right. So on to films on demand. So another option for embedding videos. I like to provide this option just because, on YouTube there are a lot of great resources, but I see quite a few faculty kind of getting hung up on the auto-generated captions. And so I'd like to point people in this direction. You may be able to find nice content on Films on Demand, and the videos are accurately captioned. Um, and so you are able to embed these videos on your Canvas pages. So if you're within the edit mode for a Canvas page, you will see that little plug icon. Um, and you can find Films on Demand, and there's a few others like Alexander Street videos, but you can find Films on Demand and click there and search within their sort of database of videos to see, if there's anything that can replace a YouTube video, or if maybe you are able to find certain content on YouTube and you just kind of want other sources, this Films on Demand option may be a good option. And I know previously with Films on Demand, students needed to log in separately to watch videos, just kind of a tedious process, but now students will not have to do that. Um, it is automatically embedded on this page, and that is how they will access it. So again, when you're in edit mode, you will see the little plug icon. Um, and I know sometimes if you haven't used Films on Demand, you may need to kind of search that within the plug icon. And there will be like a search field where you can search for that. And once you click on it and start using it, if you go in and edit another page where you want to use Films on Demand again, it will automatically be there once you click that plug icon. Right. Are there any questions, maybe about the YouTube migration tool or embedding videos that we've already talked about before we move on to the next section, which is the group discussion?
Yeah, I have a really quick question.
Okay, go
If we
ahead.
did the YouTube migration, does it delete the existing closed captions?
So it will not delete them. I don't believe it deletes them, but if they are auto-generated or inaccurate for any other reason, you will have to either send that to captioning or manually create the captions for that video.
Okay, got it. So it preserves whatever existing closed captioning is currently on the video, and then we have to make sure we go back and verify that. Okay,
Yes, that
cool.
is correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, and I see another question here in the chat. Are there any methods to get rid of ads for embedding in PowerPoint? Maybe Canvas Studio as well. I don't know of any particular methods as far as PowerPoint goes, but um, as you suggested here, maybe uploading those YouTube videos into Canvas Studio, and then embedding or downloading that video from Studio and uploading it into your PowerPoint could probably work. But as far as I know, as an actual tool or method with PowerPoint in particular, I don't believe there is one. Yes, I'm sure it is. All right. Any other questions? All right.
All right, wonderful. Well, if there aren't any more questions, then we're going to move to a quick reflection. So Aisha is going to set up the breakout rooms to get you all into groups of maybe 5 to 7. So maybe like 11 groups or 12 groups might work. I don't know, math is not my strong point.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Aisha's got it handled. Okay, quick reflection in group. So there's 3 questions here, and then we'll also ask that you choose a person in your group to share out, and you can choose to share it in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, you can unmute and share. We are recording, so just as a little reminder here, whatever you feel most comfortable with. I will also copy and paste these questions into the chat for you. So number 1 is, oh, Aisha's on it.
Oh,
Okay,
I just added
fabulous.
them.
Great. So what is one thing that you have already learned this Flex week? So taking a chance to kind of reflect back on what did you learn, whatever, and then move on to what are you excited to discover in this session on instructional technologies? And then number 3, looking a little bit further out. So what skills related to instructional tools would you like to learn about this semester or maybe this year? We're January 2026. So do you have any tech goals for 2026? Feel free to share it out. And we'll give you, let's see, it's 11:25, so maybe about 5 minutes or so. When we close up breakout rooms, you should have a full minute before coming back. So feel free to continue talking until it brings you back to the main room.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and let everyone loose.
All right, wonderful.
Hey,
You all
Tara,
should
can you
see.
put me back in? I don't know what happened. I was in a room and I just bounced back over here.
Um, okay, let me see if I can figure it out. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna move you to a room now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I had the same problem, Isha.
That's so weird. Hmm.
It was probably me. It's probably old guy problem. I probably hit something. Who knows?
Okay, let me see if I can get you into one as well.
Thank you. So you all should see a join button pop up on your
Oh my
screen. If
Lord.
it keeps spitting you back, Christy.
Yes, it's the weird.
Huh.
What is happening?
I've never experienced that. Let's see.
I haven't either.
Hmm. I'll try to move you again. Let's try one more time.
I'm so sorry.
No worries. Well, I guess it worked this time.
Yes. All
Yeah.
right.
Zoom kind of does the math for you, actually.
Oh, good.
Like it'll show you about how many people will be in each room when you're selecting.
Awesome. All right. So we'll give them a few minutes to work before we close up breakout rooms and bring everyone back.
Yeah.
All right. Should we close up rooms? They should have 1 minute after we close them.
Yeah. It's been about 5 minutes, hasn't it? That was quick. I'll go ahead and close them.
All right. So the group has about 30 seconds to make their way back. Thank you all for joining back to the main room. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a chance to share and chat a little bit. Um, Now, is there anyone from room one who would like to share out for the group? Either put it in the chat or if you feel comfortable unmuting.
I'll talk. A few people contributed. Not everybody got a chance to do. So I feel that from this particular session so far, uh, they've picked up on some new things that they can incorporate in their course, but they might be afraid to do it because they're not real comfortable with the process. So that's one thing. And there's just so much to learn that it all goes so fast. It's hard to grasp everything in just one little short session that we've had. But appreciate it very much that you're exposing us to it. So thank you.
All right, wonderful. Room two, if you'd like to unmute, or you can put it in the chat.
So we kind of shared the same concerns as group one did with the new design tools and the fact that the old system might not work and having to switch over and make those changes. It was a little bit concerning, and just kind of trying to, figure out how to make the changes. A lot of our group was kind of considering holding off until maybe the summer to make any big changes with the design learning tool. But overall, it was just kind of that same concern as group one.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Room three.
I don't know. We didn't really get a chance to designate who was going to speak for our group, but and I think I was group three.
Yes.
Um, but
Thanks, Angelina.
we talked about just some of the things that were covered so far, like being able to change rubrics and the YouTube migration tool and how, some of those things are really helpful for right now. And then we also talked about like in the future, looking at how to integrate AI into our courses, like Ignite AI, and learning a bit more about that tool or just other ways that we can just start to introduce it.
All right, nice. Thank you. Room four.
I believe I was in that group. Um, so our big takeaway for that was we really do like the YouTube migration tool, but beyond that, there are so many different tools that are available in Canvas and elsewhere, things like Harmonize, and it is overwhelming to try and take on too much of that at once. So kind of the idea of looking at one course and taking on one new tool and learning just a little bit of it so that you don't get overwhelmed with so many different things.
Absolutely. That's a great point. That's definitely something we're going to bring up a little bit later is that maybe, listen to what all the things that are available and maybe choose one and play around with them. Not in any way that we're advocating that you adopt all the tools and put them on all your courses, right? If it's overwhelming for you, it will be more overwhelming for your students because you're worried about your courses, they're worried about however many courses they're taking, and each course may have a different tool they're using, in addition to any textbook super sites or anything else. So being mindful of that, right, of your own bandwidth, but also the bandwidth of your students. So that's a great point to make. Thank you for sharing, Jade. All right, room five. Anyone? Okay, maybe you're putting in the chat. That's great too. Room six. And if you're putting in the chat, that's great too. Okay. Group seven.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah, we were group seven, and I already put stuff in the chat. Um,
Okay.
sorry, my printer's going. Um,
Okay.
all of this is really overwhelming to me. I mean, I am pathological, about it. So, I guess my tech goal for um 26 is just to really learn this stuff and expand my comfort zone with it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will definitely share some resources and ways to get in touch with us if you would like a one-on-one group too, or a one-on-one session to help walk through some of the tools. And today's meant as kind of an overview of everything that's available. And then we'll have specific workshops that are about an hour on each of the tools all by themselves. That way you could open up your sandbox. We'll kind of show you how to do some stuff, get you started, and then you have a chance to kind of play around and ask questions while you're getting started. So definitely look for those in ProDev for later in the semester. Okay.
Roommate? Or
I'm sorry, Donna.
was there no roommate? I thought we were roommate.
Oh, yep, I'm getting there. Okay, room 8.
All right. One person said they went to the session earlier on neurodivergent, and that was really good, talking about group works and way that you can manage your class. Another person talked about requiring that there's a new requirement that there's new training for all online instructors. After 7 semesters, you have to kind of re-up, and otherwise you won't be able to teach online. And then multi-tool, how to use it. Some people said how it was very helpful for them. And then a common sentiment was it would be nice, like what you're going to do, which is throughout the semester, you're going to have a small section of each one of the things you're overviewing today so that we could learn it. And it would maybe be nice to do even the overview that you're doing today at the end of next semester so that we would have more time to process if we would like to implement something because you get excited, but we just have such a small window with school starting on Monday.
Absolutely, yes. And there will be another kind of overview session that's a little bit shorter towards the end of the semester as well. Okay, wonderful. We don't have a whole lot more time to take. I see group 9 has already put something in the chat. Um, group 10. Okay, and if you already put it in the chat, I'm sorry if I missed it. Room 11. All right. Okay, wonderful. Thank you all so much for adding in. I know we didn't have a whole lot of time, but we do want to make sure that we get everything in today's session that we can. So again, these will all be overviews of these different tools. If you're interested in a particular tool, make note and then look for more individualized trainings on each of the tools. Kind of, we'll have 1 hour on WeVideo, 1 hour on Harmonize at different times. So definitely check out the ProDev calendar. You can also search for learning and find a time that works best for you.
Yes, I'll add on to that really quickly. Most, if not all of our trainings are in ProDev for this semester. So you can look from now all the way until May, and most of those are there. And then, if there was something that maybe we don't have a training on, you can email distance learning and we could see maybe if we could schedule something within, this semester or next semester. So it is all in ProDev.
Yes, thank you for the reminder. Okay, moving into our first tool here. We're about halfway through our session. Great. Okay, so our first tool we're going to talk about here is WeVideo. So WeVideo is formerly known as PlayPosit. WeVideo is like the parent company's name, so it is the same folks. It has not changed ownership. It's just kind of being absorbed into the larger company here. So WeVideo is here. You can upload instructor created videos from Canvas Studio. You can import videos from YouTube or Vimeo, or you can even record directly in WeVideo's platform if you access it through wevideo.com. There's also pre-made content shared out by other instructors, both at Sierra College and through the California Community Colleges in general. Funding for WeVideo comes through the Chancellor's office, and so that is why there is openly shared videos and interactive video assignments shared out by instructors all throughout California. We can access WeVideo directly within Canvas and from WeVideo.com's interactivity platform. If you've never accessed WeVideo or PlayPosit before from their actual website here, you'll need to click Forget Password in order to kind of set up your account, but you will use your Sierra College email. You can also access WeVideo directly within Canvas, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. We can also assign videos where students discuss within the sidebar of the video, right, all in one place. And they can also reply to each other and have that as kind of a class-wide discussion. And you can have them complete quiz questions on their own within the video. Okay. You can also set up a video to have both a discussion part and an individual quiz. And these could be both graded and ungraded, whether you want those questions in more as guiding or formative assessments to make sure students are following along with the video versus having it a graded assignment as a submission type. That way it is connected to the grade book and students will get a grade that is within their grade book. Within WeVideo, it is kind of like studio quizzes on steroids. So there are so many more settings available in WeVideo, and you can really personalize it. So you can create your own questions, of course. You can assign points to each of those questions, require students to answer the questions before continuing the video, and choose whether students can rewind or fast forward the video, which is also nice. I know some of us have realized that students can increase the speed to 2 times and kind of zoom through the video or just click through to the next question. So they're not actually watching a good part of that video. So there are settings here where you can kind of safeguard where students are kind of forced to watch the whole video. All right. All right, I'm just checking the chat here. If you want it graded, does the video need to be on an assignment page? Yes. So that it will need to be, there we go. We'll get there. So yes, but I'll go through the directions in a minute. So here are some screenshots of an example PlayPosit assignment. So in here, I took a YouTube video and copy and pasted the URL for that into the video creator. We have that kind of teal sidebar from PlayPosit, even though it's still WeVideo. And we have the timeline. Within the timeline, there is a little white bubble of where questions will pop up. That way students kind of have an idea of where the next question is coming from. I know even in the Zoom, it's still kind of small here, but there are maybe 3 different dots here within this timeline. And then when it comes to a question, the video will pause. And here is a multiple choice question that pops out from the left sidebar. And so it kind of squishes the video a little bit and also gives the question. This was a multiple choice, but there could be true, false. There can be fill in the blank, short answer. You can create discussion type questions, multiple answers with check boxes. There are so many options. Of course, if it's a multiple choice or a checkboxes, it's easier for it to kind of auto grade itself. If you have a discussion type question or a short answer, right, writing sentences in response, then that would have to be manually graded by you, of course, to make sure that it is accurate. All right, we have some WeVideo supporters in here, and it has math chemistry symbols. Excellent.
I have one quick question. The only thing about PlayPosit, if you have a multiple choice and you accidentally put the wrong answer, after you publish it, it won't let you go and correct it. Is that still true, or do you know?
I think once you publish it, you You should be able to make edits until a student takes it.
Well, that's when
Once,
you discover the errors after the student takes it.
yeah. But then if you change anything from then it's like the grading isn't the same for all students, and so that's why they have that in there, to keep grading the same. Yeah, it would
Okay.
just have to be one of those things where you, I don't know, post an announcement or make a note for yourself, just give everybody an extra point. Yeah, I mean that happens with any tool, I feel like. Okay. All right. So accessing WeVideo, you can access it in two ways. Either go to a Canvas page or assignment, click the plug icon that's within the toolbar, and then select WeVideo. And then you can kind of open the portal and look at the interactivities. You can create a new video, add interactive elements, search what other folks have posted for share. It's real easy. If you want to access the kind of larger, high-powered wevideo.com platform, you can do that as well. If you have used the playposit.com platform before, use the same credentials. All your videos will still go through. It is supposed to be a very easy transition where everything is just moved along. If not, let us know. Thank you. Um, Within the wevideo.com platform, there's also a new media creation platform. So up here where it says interactive videos in this image, I'm kind of circling, that's a drop down where you can change to multimedia creation and be able to record videos, edit them. It has some similar functionalities to like Clipchamp, DaVinci Resolve, where you can edit, adjust volume levels. It's very techy, maybe beyond what you're interested in, and that's okay too. Just letting you know that it's there, if any of you are looking for a project this semester. All right, assigning a video to make sure it is a graded assignment. So coming back to the question in the chat from earlier. So you'll create your assignment within Canvas, as you usually would. Put your instructions, learning goals, student help links, whatever you want to put within that top text box called the Rich Content Editor, or the RCE. And then under submission type, you're going to choose External Tool and then select WeVideo. So here is a little pop-up window from Configure External Tool, creating that assignment, and we have WeVideo. I'm very happy they put formally PlayPosit there, so there's no confusion of what that is. It's almost all the way at the bottom of the list, so you'll have to scroll a little bit. And then it will pop up so you can find and select the video that you would like to assign to students. In order to link that video with the assignment, you'll click on the thumbnail of the video and then select Assign. So as you're looking at your list of videos, you'll click on the thumbnail or the image here, and then left click, like a regular click, and you'll get like a pop-up menu that pops out. Oops. All right. I know this is a lot of information. Any questions before we move on to harmonize? Oh, okay, excellent. So with Harmonize, you can create interactive discussions with your students. Here's a nice little screenshot. They have a purple color scheme. It looks a little more, I don't know, social friendly or student friendly, social media like. Um, kind of design here. You can use video, audio, text, files, and polls within your question. You can also allow students to respond in the same formats. You can use multiple due dates. And when you include Harmonize, it does import into the next semester without problem. If you use blueprints, you can do Harmonize in the blueprint and everything should sync out fine as well. Also within Harmonize, you have some newer features as well. So it started as a discussion tool, now has peer review, social reading, or PDF annotation, been renamed here in the last couple months, individual assignments, and polls. There's also these little question marks here that give you a little more information about what each of these types do and some help guides on how to set them up. So that is a newer thing that's been added in just the last month or two that can really help you get started. If you use groups within Canvas, you can use those same groups within Harmonize, just a click of a button to choose your groups. And calendars will also cross over. So when you assign something in Harmonize, it will add to the Canvas to-do list for your students so that they know what is coming up due as well. So everything will kind of crisscross back and forth. If you allow students to submit late work, when they do submit after you've already given them a grade, maybe if they earned a 0 because they didn't turn anything in, or partial credit, you will now get a needs review flag so that in the grade book, so that you know they have submitted after you have given that initial grade. That way you know whether to add points or keep the grade the same. So some new settings and tools here. All right. Kara, I see that you've unmuted. Did you have a question?
I don't. Sorry about that.
Okay, no problem. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing you. All right. Creating a harmonized assignment in Canvas is very similar to creating a Weave video assignment. So you create your assignment in Canvas. Under submission type, you're going to go to External Tool, click the Find button, search for Harmonize Assignment. Whether it's a discussion, peer review, poll, anything, it will still say Harmonize Assignment. And then in that pop-up window, you'll be able to select which assignment type. This will bring you back to the Canvas page. I know this kind of throws people off a bit when it returns them back to Canvas, like, oh no, what happened? Why did it go back? But that's fine. You're going to return back to Canvas, click select and finish assigning. Make sure you unclick the load this tool in a new tab option. That way the assignment will stay on the same page, and the more that students stay in the same place without going somewhere else, the more concentrated they will stay within your course and continue the course content, okay? Anytime you open something in a new tab or a new window, we risk losing students in, oh, what's over there? Oh, what's this other tab? Oh, here's notification. So as much as we can, try to keep it in the same page. And then you can click into the harmonized assignment and adjust all of your settings, your setup, record videos, whatever you would like to do from there. All right. Any questions on Harmonize before we continue on? No? Okay. How many of you feel glazed over of all the information at this point? If you just want to give me like a thumbs up or thumbs down. Hand raise. So much information. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. So we are going to have just one more tool here, and then we're going to take a break and do another discussion. Okay. If you all want to pop your videos off and get up and stretch while I'm talking about the next one, that's totally okay. Get a drink of water, stand, stretch, whatever you need to do. Lucid is our last tool for today. So with Lucid, it is called Lucid Spark or Lucid Whiteboard within Canvas, if you see it on your course navigation. And here's a little example of what Lucid Spark looks like. There's also a Lucid Chart functionality that is really good for like decision trees, organizational charts, steps in a process, that sort of thing. But I feel like most instructors will use the Lucid Spark kind of whiteboard, sticky note board kind of thing. And this is a great online option if you had students going up to the whiteboard in your in-person classes and brainstorming and writing ideas all over the place, maybe making ideas, organizing them, or connecting ideas to each other, this is a great online alternative for that. So students can organize and diagram their ideas. They can pull out little cloud bubbles. They can write text. They can draw. They can bring up different colored sticky notes, these little squares here, to make it a little more interesting. They've also, in the last 6 months or so, have added video clips and GIFs and emojis. So if you want to have students get a little more interactive with adding in those other options as well, you could do that. You could also use templates and create copies for each of your classes. You can create drag and drop activities where you lock certain aspects of the board, but allow other parts to be freely movable. And you can assign this either as a class collaboration board, like a live document where everyone's working in the same place, in the same space together, or you can assign it as an individual assignment. Okay, so Lucid is a fun tool. It does take some brainstorming of what do you want to do with it first before you kind of jump into it. But there's a lot of opportunities. So some pros and cons here. Sorry, I'm just checking the chat here. Okay. Um, so some pros is that when students submit, if it's an individual assignment, a PDF image will be put into Canvas Speed Grader for easier grading. That way you're not going back and forth between platforms. For the class collaboration boards, a preview of the live board will show in Speed Grader, and then you can do like a name search or kind of find their names and give points that way. Some of the cons is that class collaboration boards, because they are essentially live documents, they do not import each semester. And so you'll need to either create a template board and then make copies for each of your classes, or create a new board each semester. And then the other part is when students first access Lucid, they have to confirm that they are over 13 to participate. This is due to Lucid Education's like privacy policy and data collection or something that's attached to their Canvas accounts. If they accidentally click the wrong button, they will not be able to do the assignment. Okay, there's no easy way to kind of go back and fix it. So they really have to pay attention on that first page to make sure they're confirming they are over 13. If they're 12 and under, then I would imagine it's probably not a situation. Even our dual enrollment students are typically 13 or older. But if they're younger, you may need to have them do a separate assignment to make sure we're complying with all of the regulations. I think that's come up once. All right. I do have a little demo here. It's a short video that I will show you all if you want to sit back and relax and watch. And then I have a sample here that you all can play around in. Oh, maybe. It is not letting me. Aisha, do you have?
I'm having the same problem. Is it in your Canvas studio?
Maybe. Oh, yep, sure is. Okay. Then I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment so I can pull this up out of my studio. It does not want to let me share it easily, but it should take me just a moment. So this is a good stretch break. Want to get up, stretch. And I'll pull it up here in just a minute. As I'm doing this, also, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask Aisha. Okay, All right, I've got our video up here. All right, I'm just going to pop on the captions here. Okay, it's only about 2 minutes. Just gives a little introduction of getting started.
Does anyone have sound?
Oh, is the sound not sharing? Thank you. Oh, bummer. Okay, let me try that one more time. And see, even the best of us have technical issues sometimes. Okay. Isha, if you'll let me know if you can hear the audio. Welcome to our Lucid Spark brainstorming board.
Yes.
Okay, to show you how to get started real quick, we have our T for text, where you can add any text. Click a couple times to highlight it all. You can make it bigger, change it to bold, change the text color. If you do change the color, please do be mindful so that everyone can read it. You can add a sticky note, choose a color, going to draw the shape of your sticky note. Click, double click here in the sticky note to write your message or to answer the brainstorming topic, what technique works for you. Once you've done that, you can make it smaller, bigger, you can rotate it, you can add lines. We could also draw a shape. We can make a thought bubble. And then within the thought bubble, you can type as well. So again, we're going to highlight. And make it large enough to read. You can also add arrows. We have straight, elbow, bendy, any of the options. So if we have a my idea is, and you wanted to add an arrow, and then put in your own sticky note on this side, and then you can finish your answer. Or you can help connect to another person's question, adding your answer at the end of the line. There's also this marker option where you can draw, kind of a freehand drawing. So there you go. I hope this was helpful in getting started with Lucid. All right, and excuse my aggressive clicking. Did not realize it sounded so loud in the recording. All right, I know that's kind of a quick overview of what you can do. I was trying to keep it under 2 minutes. But what do you all think about Lucid? Type in the chat, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, this tool sounds like a winner for you. Great. Oh, yes, it could be super helpful in high flex courses where you might have some students joining online and some students live in the course. Yes. Yeah, so here I will, hopefully my sample will open here. So here, as students add sticky notes or add text within the settings mark, there is a way to show author, and then that way you can see who is there. You could also turn this off if while students are working, you don't necessarily want their names to be shown. It won't show for anyone, but as the owner of the board, when you're ready to grade, you can go in and turn on the show author by right-clicking on any of these, and then you can go to show author and view the names associated with it. Yes, and we do have a list of trainings later on in the presentation, and we can put that in the chat as well. Yes, and there's a search function as well to search their names. Thanks, Angelina. Yeah, so when it's a class collaboration board and everyone's kind of in the same space together, it is a little cumbersome to grade, especially if you have a larger course and kind of searching for each individual student's name. That is one of the drawbacks of Lucid. If it's an individual assignment where each student gets kind of their own copy, then a PDF will import of whatever they've submitted, which could work for like a design, or if you want to get an outline of a presentation, or you want them to put their ideas out about what they might want to do a presentation or their paper on, and then ask them to kind of organize it later and then submit it again. And that's possible too. Yes. Rebecca.
Could this be assigned like as a group assignment so that you would have like a smaller number of students on, maybe 5 students each on 6 whiteboards?
It is possible. It does kind of take some planning and working to get it to work. What you could do is you could put students in groups or use differentiation tags to kind of group students together. And then you could create a page or an assignment with this brainstorm board on it, and then assign, make multiple pages with multiple boards, right? Each page has their own board, and then assign each page to a certain group. That way, your students are only seeing the page they've been assigned, but it's also kind of broken up so you don't have, 40 students on the same board. Yeah, so it takes some work around, but it is possible. Yeah, storyboarding, laying out projects, brainstorming together. This is also a fun way that anyway, I'm going to give you all the link to the sample if you'd like to play around in here. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and that will take you to this sample here. I have locked the top part, so you can't move the main parts at the top, but you can move those purple sticky notes. So if you'd like to take a minute and kind of try that out while I'm talking, you're welcome to. The link, I'm sorry, is really long. There's no way to make that cleaner in Zoom chat. But yes, laying out projects, using it as, what was the highlight of the week for you, as some of that student to student interaction, getting them to think about the content in other ways, what stood out to them, and then asking them to leave a comment on somebody else's post. Yeah, instead of the discussion board, right? Trying to grab the same things you're already having them do, but work it around just a little bit so it feels a little more interactive. And the more fun it is for students, the more likely they are to actually complete all the parts. Right? If they get in, they're like, oh, this is fun. Oh, I can choose this color. I can do this other shape. They might get those 2 peer replies in, which is always a struggle. All right. So I do want to go over assigning the class collaboration board in Canvas. This specific class collaboration board is assigned differently than a typical external tool, like we saw in WeVideo and Harmonize. And if it were an individual assignment for Lucid, that's that same create an assignment, submission type, and then finding your external tool. However, when we create a class collaboration board, you're going to create that assignment in Canvas, but within the RCE text box, right, where you're putting in your directions and student learning goals, maybe some help links to help them navigate, within that main box, you're going to click the L for Lucid, the button that looks like that. And then in the pop-up window, you are going to select No. unless you have students that are younger. Click the blue New button in the top left corner and select a board or create a new one. Okay, so I'm going to kind of walk through the steps here within Canvas. I'm going to come back down to my sandbox. So my first step is to go to an assignment. So if any of the tools we've discussed today, they're all going to start with create an assignment in Canvas. We're all going to, give it a name. You're going to put in your directions here, any information for students, all goes here within the Rich Content Editor, the RCE. And then if we're having our class collaboration board, maybe click enter a couple of times to give some space. Click the L for loosen. May take a moment to load depending on how much you've got in here. I have quite a few. And then you can view your documents, anything that's been shared with you from somebody else, or even there may be some information underneath the Canvas one here. Select the one that you would like to use. Let's see, I'll choose this one. I think this is the same link that I gave. I have it selected. I get a little preview down here. I'm going to click continue. By default, it will select the edit access setting. We do want it to be edited because we do want our students collaborating on that board. Click insert. And it will grab that class collaboration board and embed it within the page itself. And then from here, you can move around, view it. Students can add their different areas here as well. And then you can just complete assigning it here. Under submission type, this is a class collaboration board. So there's nothing that they're going to submit themselves because they're working here within the main board. So for the class collaboration board, it is going to be no submission because they're working up here. But we did create an assignment, so it does have points associated with it, and it will show in the gradebook. Once you're ready, you can click Save and Publish. I'm just going to click Save here because I'm in a sandbox. But then they'll see here. They can zoom in and out using the plus and minus here. In order to move the board around, you'll need to right-click and drag, or click the control button, hold it down and drag, and then you can grab pieces and move them around. These are not necessarily correct answers. I'm just showing how we can move things around. All right. If you wanted to make this larger, or if your students wanted a larger space to work in, can click this top right corner, open in a new tab, and then that will give them more space to work in and a little bit kind of bigger area. They'll also have more options in the sidebar if you want to give them that. All right. Any questions on Lucid? Now that you've kind of seen it in action here? Oh, yes, absolutely. Okay, wonderful. So now we have some time. We have quite a bit of time this time. Excellent. All right, before we move in to the discussion, any other questions? All right. We do have kind of a question, kind of a comment about would love to learn more about student engagement and this tool. So what ideas do you all have about using this as a student engagement? How do you get your students working together? I know some of you in here already use Lucid. All right, so that collaboration board, you could use it as like a storyboard, laying out projects, as one of your colleagues said earlier in the chat, using it to outline or do a draft of an assignment. Definitely feels more interactive than a discussion board. I'm all about taking the same assignment and using maybe a different tool to do it instead of just giving students more work to get all of these, RSI and all these other check boxes ticked. But using what you already have and just kind of reworking it a little bit in order to get that interactivity. So what was a highlight this week? What was one new thing that you learned? Um, yes.
I'm thinking about how I can use that Lucid tool to do like small group critique where you could post an image in the board and then pick 4 or 5 students to, add their comments to it. And like they can actually point to sections of the image and make comments on it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, so for photo, design, art classes, uploading an image and having students add comments or critiquing. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Dan. Peer review of a short story. Yes. And students can also add links here. So if they have like a Google document or some other way where they can freely give access to even it maybe like a Canva and having an open share link, um, adding that where students can check it out, add comments. Peer review of a short story. Yes. Poetry unit would be amazing for this, having them post a short poem and having students leave comments. Critical thinking, vocab expansion. Absolutely. My world language teachers in here. You have a whole set of vocab. How can you categorize that vocab? Do you have places? Do you have verbs? Do you have adjectives? Not only is that reinforcing parts of speech or even ESL classes, right? Parts of speech, organizing that information. There's the drawing option there as well. So if there's any problem with getting accents in, you can have them type it if they want and then go in with the marker icon and add in the accents, right? Same for like with math, it's easy to draw that out. Sarah?
I'm curious how this displays as because I just keep seeing this small little box and thinking, how do you get 25 plus people to comment on something? How does it actually display and does it just grow so that they can scroll through it? Okay.
Yes, it is like an infinite pane. So right now with my little screen, so is this an example of student to student interaction or not? It looks really small right now, but I'm only at 9%.
Okay.
And so I think this text is like, I'm not sure if I can click on it in this view, but like my text here is huge and it's
Got it.
still only 12%. So it's an infinite board. They can just keep scrolling and keep moving. You can create like a box or a frame around it for students to kind of find it. Let's see, here's a frame. So if I wanted to put a frame around this, kind of help keep students centered on one space. And as you add frames in here as well, you will have an option down here at the bottom. I don't remember if it's bottom left or bottom right, but it will be like a table of contents almost.
Hmm.
So students can kind of quick jump to which box they're supposed to be working in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it's like an infinite board. It all just depends on where they're scrolling to and how big you're zoomed in as well. Yeah, thank you for asking. That's an important one, right? What happens if the box fills up? Okay. Describing a math function and having different students giving a representation. Love that. Showing that there is more than one answer. Yes. Almost like a word web or a brainstorm bubble. If you put in a subject and you're asking students to bring in their own ideas or their own examples in real life, or where have they seen this topic demonstrated in? Absolutely. All right. Angelina just put in a really great example with a screenshot. Thank you for sharing. Like I knew we had Lucid folks in here that are already using it. All right. Christina?
Yes, hey, thank you for answering my question in advance. So I have a high flex class, I have an on-ground class, but I'm thinking if I have an on-ground class working with, say, the idea of maybe a mind map or something like that. So the idea would be that they would pull out their own laptops and their phones and log in and kind of play with this that way. Do you see what I'm saying? Would it go on my screen off of my projector? How would they? I guess I'm just trying to, maybe I'm just slow because I'm learning a lot right now. How would that work?
Right. So if you're for your in-person
Yeah.
folks, you could ask them to log into Canvas on their phones or laptops.
Okay.
Maybe give them a heads up the class before.
Sure.
That way, they bring what they need, that you log into Canvas and you can add it as an assignment within Canvas, but you're going to be putting it within the RCE text box up here with the directions.
Okay.
And then they can all go in and access that same place. So I feel like putting it in Canvas first is really helpful. Otherwise, you're gonna have to figure out how to share a link, and that can get tricky depending on, your comfort with technology and like making a QR code or something, and students' technology skills. Um, so yeah,
Okay.
probably putting it in Canvas first, and then just giving them directions on accessing that.
And then it could be projected onto the screen so they could all see what they're doing
Mhm.
off of my projector. Yeah, that would be fun just so they could see it, not just on their little screens, but then I could see everything that they're doing and maybe, point at stuff. Yeah, I'm just thinking about ways to make, you know, different types of learning happen. So thank you so much.
Yes, and that could be fun too. That way you're kind of bringing in your online folks and your in-person folks together in the same
Absolutely.
space.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Okay, wonderful. Well, I hope it's feeling a little less intimidating and a little less overwhelming at this point. I am going to skip forward now to the reflection discussion. We'll give you all about 10 minutes maybe for this one, as we have 4 questions in here. And I'll let Aisha read the questions for you all.
Yes. So in your group, similar to the first groups that we had, you'll want to answer the questions. What questions do you still have about instructional technologies? I'm sure there are a lot now that we have went over so many different tools. Um, Another follow-up question is based on what you learned today, which tools are you most interested in using? And how would you use those tools? Another question that we have is how would you introduce a new LTI to students to set them up for success? So of course, we're learning all these new tools, but students will need to understand how to use them as well so that it's not a barrier for them. And then the last question we have is what support or resources would you need to feel comfortable implementing one of these tools? So of course, we have so many different tools, but we want to kind of know based on these tools, what could we do to help you? Would that be, I know there has been mention of like trainings and having some sort of hands-on workshop time, maybe drop-in hours. So anything that you can think of that would help you and support you in implementing these tools. And again, we'll have probably about 10 minutes since we have time this time, and Tara's going to open up those rooms.
All right, so you should see that join button pop up. All right, and so for some of you who may have kind of been booted out of Zoom and rejoined, I'm just going to pop you into any group just to make sure that you have time to chat about all this. Right. So go ahead and join your breakout room. If you don't see it or need help, please let us know. All right, and if you're still with us, if you'll pop into your breakout room, I see one room, there's only a couple folks that are joined. I'm sure they miss their group mates. All right, Aisha, since you're in here, would you mind if I went to check on a couple of groups?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, wrong screen. Let me get the prettier version. Isha, what do you think? Has it been close to 10 minutes?
Um, just just about. I think we started at around 12:27, 26, sometime around then. So maybe about a minute or two.
Okay, I'll wait just a minute and then I'll close up breakout rooms.
Okay.
Some good discussions going on.
Really, that's good. I know sometimes breakout rooms can be um either a lot of people participate or not really. That's good.
Yeah. All right, closed up breakout rooms. They have 60 seconds to come on back.
Looks like a lot of people are still talking. I love that.
All right, welcome back, everyone. All right, I popped into a couple breakout rooms. There's some really great discussions going on. I know there was a lot of things to discuss. You had quite a bit longer to chat. So I'm not going to call on each room, but if you all wanted to pull out maybe your highlight or a main point that you'd really like to share, if you'd like to put that in the chat, that way you and your colleagues can kind of scan the chat, find some nuggets um, of helpful hints, and then we'll continue on to some resources before we go today.
Tara, is Lucid similar to Padlet?
Is Lucid similar to Padlet? Um, I would say Lucid is the closest to Padlet that we currently have.
Thank you.
Yeah, the like working within it and and creating it and kind of setting it up is a bit different, but it's probably the closest. Sure. I thought I saw another hand.
I think that was mine. I think it
Okay.
dropped somehow. This is Vernon.
Yeah, go
We were talking about how there seems to be um, maybe a shift from a few years ago, maybe the less is more, or I think the way that you guys have been framing this as make sure that you use these things intentionally, like have a purpose in mind rather than adopt the tool and then try to shoehorn it into your modules somehow, right? So I think that's really good advice. And I think Jacqueline in our group had was kind of feeling like with her own experience, both as a faculty member and as a parent, that the less is more model is really important to be thinking about rather than trying to kind of
ahead.
create, I don't want to call it unnecessary interaction, but maybe
Putting it
overwhelming
there for the
students.
sake of it.
Yeah, maybe just students are feeling overwhelmed, right? Online is a difficult way to learn anything. So, make sure that these tools are intentional and the interaction is really purposeful toward some end of learning. That was our conversation.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Vernon. Way to keep things positive. Yes. And I heard some other groups saying some other things, right? Finding ways that you could work maybe one or two of these tools, adapt it in, right? Not using these just to make more assignments for your students, right? But what do you already have that might work better in one of these other tools? Absolutely. Okay. Great. I saw someone put in an interesting article. If anyone else wants to add stuff to the chat, otherwise I'll pass it over to Aisha.
Alrighty. So of course we went over a lot of tools, and I know there was sort of a want and a need for specific trainings on these tools. So the training coming up we have is Harmonize, and that will be this Friday. From 12:30 to 1:30, and this will be with the actual Harmonize reps. So this will be a really good training to come to kind of really understand Harmonize and to really ask all those burning questions because we have the representatives there. And this link below, this subscribe to Harmonize release notes. You can subscribe to the release notes and get all of that, new and current information. And I'm sure Tara, okay, she's already put it all in the chat. Harmonize also, if you go to their website, they also have live trainings and asynchronous trainings if you kind of want to know about more specific things within Harmonize. Maybe if you're having trouble with it or you just want to understand it more, and you can go to these different trainings on your own time. Um, we also have training on video coming up on Friday, February 6th from 3 to 4 p.m. And then similar to the Harmonize link, the Video Academy link will direct you to Video resources and how to use that platform. I also want to note for these trainings, these are the dates that are coming up. But again, if you go into ProDev, most of our trainings are already in the calendar for the entire semester. So if you say, I cannot make it to any of the listed dates here, there is likely at least one other session for the particular thing that you might be looking for, probably even 3 or 4. And so, yes, we'll have a video training. There will also be a Lucid training on Friday, January 30th from 10 to 11 a.m. and another on Thursday, February 26th from 1 to 2 p.m. And then we also have here a link to the Lucid Training Lab, which is similar to the other links, gives you that on-demand training that you may be needing as you're working with the different tools. And we'll also have a training on Design Plus, and that will be on Friday, January 30th from 1 to 2. And again, links to the City Labs newsletter and their training page. But also remember that when you open up the Design Plus sidebar, there are also embedded walkthroughs, videos, and trainings that way as well. And then we'll have a LTI Tools Explained workshop. That will be Friday, February 20th from 11 to 12. I assume that will be kind of maybe a condensed version of this training here. And so that is available to you as well. And again, everything is within ProDev. And if you do not see any dates here on this slide that work for you, go ahead and look within the semester and see if there are any other dates, because there likely are. Next slide, please. And aside from our training, we do have a lot of support. So we do have the faculty resource guide, which is available within your Canvas dashboard. So when you log into Canvas, you should see it there. If you don't see it there, you may need to go to courses to pull up a list of all the courses that you are enrolled in, whether you're a teacher in that course or added in as a student. you should be able to find the faculty resource guide within there if you're not able to find it on your dashboard. We also have a distance learning YouTube channel, which now has over 100 videos. Tara and I have worked quite a bit over the past, year, to add videos so that you have the support and resources that you need. We have videos on different LTIs. We have videos on effective practices, accessibility, RSI, pretty much everything. And then if you have any further questions, maybe you want to get any one-on-one time, whether that's in person or over Teams or Zoom, you can email the distance learning email at distancelearning@sierracollege.edu. And I recommend that rather than emailing us individually, just in case, someone is out of office. And Rebecca, I see you have a question or your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just curious if any of the videos live in ProDev where you could get flex credit for watching them.
As of right now, I don't believe any of our YouTube videos are in ProDev. But I believe some of our like the trainings that we are doing like today, like this training and the DL updates trainings, those videos would be in ProDev at some point, probably within a week or two. But as far as the actual YouTube videos, I don't believe so.
I might just suggest that it would be nice if like these individual trainings on Lucid and the design tool, if those recordings went into ProDev, like I think they should still be on YouTube so that we can like go back and find information if we need it. But I think if somebody's going to spend, an hour and a half watching a video learning about how to use a Canvas tool, that should be eligible for flex credit.
Yeah. And
Go ahead.
absolutely, Rebecca. So for our longer trainings, especially when we have trainings with the reps, like when Harmonize rep comes or when we have a Lucid rep who's able to join us, we do record them and we do stick it on our YouTube channel. And then you could always watch those and use it as an external training through ProDev in order to get flex hours for that. So if you have more questions on how exactly to do that, please reach out to Pod professional development office, and they can help, figure out how exactly to put in that external tool or external training. Sorry, external training for watching one of the YouTube videos. But often on our channel, they're really short. We try to keep them within 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Um, and so it's very targeted. And here's the information you need right now. We don't typically record all of them, and so we make shorter ones and stick it up there so you can just get the information you need and get started.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like I think like the longer workshops on individual
Mhm.
tools, if those could go into ProDev for flex credit. Because the other thing is, I mean, I used to be the faculty coordinator in Pod, and at the time, I don't know if things have changed. They could be if it was like a video training, they wanted it in ProDev so that they could measure that the person actually completed the video so that they wouldn't be getting
Okay.
like people saying they did something that they didn't do. So that could be an issue with YouTube videos. And like you said, if those are more bite-sized, I wouldn't use those for flex, but like full
The longer ones.
on something that lasts an hour and a half, maybe you guys could, arrange with Pod to get those
Mhm.
to ProDev so that we could get credit and they would see that we watched the whole thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We'll make note of it. Thank
Thank,
you.
thank you.
All right, I know we're out of time. And Tara, you may have put these in the chat. I'm not sure. But I do want to highlight the two chat bots. So there is ProfBot, and this is basically 24-hour resource for any. It's kind of if you look into the faculty resources guide, there are a lot of different resources on effective practices, accessibility, RSI, accreditation, and all of those things. You can find that in the ProfBot. And if you have more questions specifically, though, about RSI and accreditation, you can find that in the RSI accreditation bot. But I know we're out of time. So I will let you all go. Thank you for joining us. I know it was a lot to sit through that 2 hour session, so we really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.